Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Bill O'Reilly's a real embarrassment to us of Irish descent.
I'll agree with that.
We eschew him.
England.
Yeah, he's a spy for the English. To hell with him. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad we're.
Yeah, I'm
really
sorry. I don't have what to say to that.
What? So
I don't know why you got a problem with Bill O'Reilly. He's very successful. He's a Harvard grad.
He's also
He probably drinks a lot. He seems like the consummate Irishman.
Oh,
Damn it!
Damn it!
Is that not okay?
He's a fucking he's a pussy grabber too, though.
Yeah, he
Is he?
He masturbated
that's
in the shower with the falafel while calling one of his assistants.
What is this? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, this was like 20 years ago.
No, this sounds like some sort of Middle Eastern slur you're trying to get out right now,
Hold
Kevin.
on,
And I'm
no,
uncomfortable.
I have to Google this. Mark's gonna cut all this out because you're gonna hear me Googling the whole time.
I bet you Google
Bill O'Reilly
falafel assault all the time.
Sounds like Bill O'Reilly did some Googling himself.
And none of this is usable.
Bill. Okay, here we go from 2017 from Vice. Remember Bill O'Reilly's extreme sexual harassment falafel lawsuit from 2004? Recent reports reveal just how much money Bill O'Reilly paid out in out-of-court settlements for sexual harassment lawsuits. In 2004, one suit alleges the Fox News pillar told a producer that he'd put the falafel thing on her pussy.
The falafel thing? Is he talking about his ball?
So he said something. He didn't show anyone his dick and falafel together, right? He said something about putting a food item on a lady's swimsuit area.
I want to put a falafel on your pussy. I want to do it live.
He allegedly went on to describe how he would have sex with a former assistant in the shower, quoting, "So anyway, I'd be rubbing your big boobs and getting your nipples really hard, kind of kissing your neck from behind, and then I would take the other hand with the falafel thing and I'd put it on your pussy."
Wait, talk slower.
But you'd have to do it really light, just kind of a tease business. And as stiffly as I wrote that, I imagine his delivery was even worse.
I like the idea of just using the word business in that you're talking hey, I want maybe me and you get together and I unbutton your blouse and I put my hand in there and do some rubbing business. And then you stick your tongue and rub it around put your tongue on my nipple and give it the licking business.
Well, it leaves the mind open to interpretation.
Well, yeah.
They say, Mike, the most erotic organ in the human body.
It's got to be the penis, right? What is it?
No, Mike. It's the brain. The brain, yes.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just imagine all that business right now.
Yeah. And business is good.
I found somebody who said that he was referring to a loofah and forgot the word because he was too caught up in his...
He's too horny.
Yeah. And so he said falafel. Even though... Is a
loofah falafel? Okay.
Is a loofah?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's... I don't think you want...
Man, have you ever been so horny that your stomach hurts? That's when you start making mistakes. You start making word mistakes. I totally stole a stomach hurt from I Think You Should Leave. But, man, when you're on a handful of blue powder and you have been up for 4 days, a hole's a hole and a word is something you just got to get through. Anyway, angels for life.
Did y'all know that loofahs were plants? I found that out recently.
Were, like underwater plants, right? Kind of like a sponge.
No, that's a sea sponge. I think the loofah comes from a land plant.
They look like something one might find growing in the land of Caelid in Elden Ring.
They kind of do.
I got so horny I couldn't say
That's right. That's right. Probably with lots of hands on it.
Yeah.
Like if you look close, you think what are just little filaments are tiny hands, and there's kerjillions of them.
I just got the mushroom armor.
Oh, okay.
You just look like you're a big mushroom. Can you walk through? I think you can, I don't know, do something with it.
Everything.
So a loofah kind of looks like a hanging cucumber that when it dries, it turns into the shape that we know.
You know what else looks like a hanging cucumber?
You want to know?
No. Oh, this episode's already a disaster.
And again, I think I said this before. My favorite loofah Vandross.
That's enough clever wordplay. Why don't we talk about the news?
All right. Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I am Brian Camp. Sorry, I'm off. I'm super red. I don't know why.
And I am pale as a ghost, Mike Wiebe. Mm-hmm. And down there in the audio jungle, we have... Well, he looks like he's got some sun, but not too much sun. And I'm sure he is wise enough to always use SPF 30 or above because the Texas heat is hot right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mark Ryan.
Hey, everybody. I just use baby oil.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
I mean, for the sun or just in general? Like
you rub some spices on you as well, the baby oil. So.
For a lot of reasons.
Rub lotion on me.
Mark doesn't leave the house unless he's frictionless.
Speaking of hanging cucumbers, right, Mark? Yeah, no, I wear sunscreen all the time. I just don't I'm afraid of cancer, as we all should be. And yes, the sun beats down with those deadly UV rays.
Yep.
Maybe this is a good time for us to caution the listeners about the deadly rays of the sun.
I don't think we're the ones breaking the news on that, Brian.
Well, to some people, maybe.
Right.
Maybe some people in some areas. And hey, even if you're in a place where it's cold, you still need to shield yourself from the deadly rays of Papa Soul. I gotta put on sunscreen just to like drive to another place that I'm gonna be inside. To drive 15 minutes. I seriously will get stingy.
For the listener, Michael is an albino.
A little bit.
You got a little bit of melanin deficiency. There's Mark showing everybody up again.
If I were
deficient in melanin production,
if I were to pull up my T-shirt, you could see organs working.
Ooh,
that's why we didn't want you to do it. We don't want to see your spleen.
I'm not going to do it.
Like a cheap carnival's pay money to see the alien corpse.
Yeah,
thing.
Totally.
I was thinking, something like Transparent Mike, watch him eat dinner, and then watch as the dinner passes through him.
It takes a long time for that to happen.
Not me. I do it quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's your total lack of roughage.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't had fiber in 4 years. Speaking of hanging cucumbers, right?
Are cucumbers fibrous?
Sure. All plants are. Right? It's just roughage.
I one time this lady on Howard Stern came on, and you'll never believe what she did with the cucumber.
Wait, she cut it up, made like a salad?
Baba Booey.
And you look so serious when you said that. That's great. Now that we've gone through all this clever wordplay, why don't we get to the news?
So this week, we've got 2 news stories, a bonus story for our Patreon listeners. We've got an arts and culture story, and then Mike has a new segment in Get to Know Your Podcast.
Get to Know Your Podcast is an old segment, but we're moving on from the Larsonaissance.
Oh, chapter. So could we call this chapter 2?
Chapter 2.
Sub part 1.
So our first story comes to us from the Daily Beast. The South Canadian River is a popular fishing spot located in Oklahoma. And in July...
Whoa. The South Canadian River in Oklahoma?
Right.
God, those people are dumb. Just I got Tokyo Pond back here.
Tokyo Ponds, fed by the South Canadian. Yep.
It is south of Canada.
There's East Tigris and East Euphrates, right in Hurst, Euless, Bedford area. They culminate right at the CD Exchange there.
So the South Canadian River is a popular fishing spot in Oklahoma, and in July it was also the site of a murder. A 53-year-old man was noodling in the river with his fishing partner. For people who don't know, noodling is a kind of fishing where you stick your hand into holes in the side of a riverbank without knowing what's in there. And then you hope to catch a catfish by sticking your hand into its mouth. The article doesn't make it clear exactly what happened next, but the 53-year-old man struck, strangled, and then drowned his partner, and then later confessed to police. In his statement to police, the man said the victim had summoned Bigfoot to come and kill him, so he had no recourse but to kill the victim.
Well, I was on Team Law and Order until that last couple sentences.
Get it?
I'm not a lawyer anymore, but in this realm, I'm a celestial lawyer.
You didn't lose your celestial
okay.
license, sure.
But I think that clearly, especially if you ask someone not to summon a Bigfoot, you don't want that Bigfoot to show up, you know? I mean, I definitely do not want one showing up. For me, hold me up, ripping my trousers off, ripping my underwear off, ripping my shirt off.
Oh, no.
Laughing, just holding me up and laughing. If you told me you were going to do that to me, I have some justifiable self-defense to stop you from that, because it's not you committing that act to me,
right.
But it's you. I don't know what is it when you enable someone
you're a party to the act.
To the act,
yeah. And
it is illegal to, against my will, strip me bare buck naked with my bare bottom hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of hanging cucumbers.
And just, point at my cucumber, point at my falafels, and shake them around, shaking me up and down, because you're holding me by my hands, both hands. The Bigfoot is
for the
both
listener,
hands,
Mike is demonstrating
shaking me up,
right,
action.
by the ankles.
pointing, and then all these little animals all over just laughing,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's having a real funny good time. And I'm sure that guy who said, I'm gonna summon Bigfoot, I'm sure he was like, that's what he wanted to see his buddy buck naked. He wanted to laugh at his friend's genitals. And you know what? If you want to see your friend humiliated and laugh at genitals and point at them and just spank the bare bottom, I think you're no friend of mine.
Wow.
How do you summon a Bigfoot?
Oh, that's a good question, Mark.
Apparently,
summon a Bigfoot.
One of our Patreon listeners who sent us a message on Instagram, and he said,
a good person.
It had a few more details.
Someone
in the
who
article.
would not summon a Bigfoot to have their good friend get their bare bottom spanked and their genitals laughed at.
Right. And he apparently, and in the article he sent, apparently the guy said he had the power to summon Bigfoot, and it didn't make it exactly clear how he would do that. But then once he summoned Bigfoot, if he left the killer alone, Bigfoot was going to eat the killer, is what he told him.
Well, I mean, you don't joke around about stuff like that.
Well,
so.
I think I know how you summon a Bigfoot.
What's that?
You get a group of people, and then you get them all laughing and like cackling, like they're laughing and something, and then the Bigfoot is like,
Mike.
"Oh, what's going on?" And so they feel like they have to go find out what's happening because they don't want to miss out on
by the laughter.
Right.
Stop it. Not funny. Stop it.
Now, if you remember back to about episode 6, we covered the Bigfoot hunting season, also in Oklahoma, that somebody's trying to introduce.
I'm never going to Oklahoma.
What if you need
ever?
What if you need a copy of one episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Oh yeah,
and the fucked up thing is, I do.
Probably.
And I've been trying to figure out how to get in and out of there safely, and I haven't figured it out. Because it's a real Walking Dead situation. Because Walking Dead, you think like, I gotta go deal with zombies. But if you watch the show, you also have to deal with people who have turned and become feral, self-centered assholes who will kill anybody who gets on their land. People that tribal, I guess, is the word. Survivors. So that's what Oklahoma is. It's just big feet and people that are willing to do anything to survive. Yeah. And I'm sure that there is probably a bountiful trade between, goods and services and Bigfoot getting to laugh at genitals and spank bare bottoms.
So just to get back to the story here, we've just got two little parts here. The sheriff said the man, quote, appeared to be under the influence of something
weird,
unquote, and the man was charged with murder once the victim's body had been found. As of this recording, no court date has been set for trial, and it's not clear whether Bigfoot will be subpoenaed as a witness.
Yeah, he was under the influence of fear because he was afraid he was going to get his bare bottom spanked.
Is there any chance that the catfish turned the tables on him, and instead of the tickling, noodling hand of the angler lulling the catfish to sleep and putting them in a dream state, the catfish instead tickled the angler and lured him into a place of murder?
Well, no, because the killer
there are magic catfish, or there are.
I think there's lots of magic catfish. Yeah, they grant wishes.
Serious.
It's a weird wish.
They do. Yeah. And there's giant catfish. A lot of people have seen these giant There's one in, I don't know, Rockwall Lake.
Ooh, a cryptid. Is his name Old Sam?
Old Whisker Biscuit. What? When you're noodling, we should have a noodler come on and explain noodling to us, how it works, because I know it's simple, but do catfish have their mouth open, or are they just sitting there with their mouths open?
They're laughing.
Yeah,
they look like when they're laughing.
They're probably laughing. They're probably colluding. I bet the catfish collude with the.
Probably.
That'd be the problem.
Maybe
Bigfoot
they cast spells.
Rips off your clothes, points at you. Animals, little woodland animals come up. A bunch of fish heads come up and start laughing at you too.
Yep. Just with those gaping mouths.
Yeah.
I bet the magic catfish helps summon the Bigfoot. And that's why they're always there when it happens, because they're into it too, but they just want to watch.
So do you think that the magic catfish and the Bigfoot are enemies of the Loveland Frog? Because when I was a child, was taken catfishing, and sometimes as bait, you would use frogs.
Yeah, this happened in Oklahoma, not Ohio, though.
Yeah.
They're both O states, okay, Brian?
That's good. That's right, Kevin.
Well, this way again. I do not want to go to Oklahoma, and that's why my Sabrina the Teenage Witch collection remains incomplete.
I do like the idea of getting a wish from an animal and hating the person you're with so much, and hating your own life, that you wish for that person to murder you in a grisly way. So they get caught. That way you get to die, and they spend the rest of their life in prison or executed. It is Oklahoma.
Well, they did say. The sheriff did say that the DA would probably seek the death penalty, but that opens a can of worms that I didn't want to have as a discussion on a comedy podcast.
Well, I just think that Oklahoma, obviously, it's a lawless, insane place, but
right.
in any other state that has actual functioning government, you would not send someone to the electric chair, the death penalty. You would not send them there for simply defending themselves against getting their bare bottom spanked and their penis pointed at by a.
Well, in Oklahoma, I think they put you on the back of a mule facing the wrong way with your hands tied behind your back. Put like a big plaster head on top of yours and just send you off. And they just they put like a carrot or some water in front of the mule, so it just kind of keeps going, and eventually,
gulag.
They do it.
So our next story comes to us from Brian's favorite news site, I Fucking Love Science. Also known as IFL Science.
Have they changed it to IFL? Because they need to.
I think on Facebook it's IFL because I think Facebook
I won't let my
Not-
kids. I will not let my kids
Right.
look at that site.
How many kids do you have?
2.
Chicken nugget?
No,
6-piece nugget?
chicken nugget,
nugget,
and
yeah.
Daenerys Stormborn.
In mid-July, the FDA issued a warning to a number of honey products on the market that claim to help men last longer and feel better with their partners. These horny honey products claim to achieve this through natural ingredients, including ginseng. However, recent FDA lab tests of several of these products found something in the honey that was not listed in the ingredients: Viagra. Now, the FDA warns that these companies have broken federal law by selling undisclosed drug ingredients in products marketed as food and are making unauthorized claims that their products treat health problems. Apparently, this is an issue because Viagra lowers blood pressure and interacts with nitrates, which are taken by people with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, and hot dog eaters. The FDA encouraged consumers to be vigilant about what they are purchasing online and to seek FDA approval for treatments for their health issues.
What is the name of this food, and is there a link to it?
Let me.
You have a
let
link
me-
to it?
I
I'm
can-
holding a
Does it
pen.
Does it have alpha?
Listener, I'm holding a pen and looking. I'm taking in information.
They refer to these as tainted honey products.
Tainted
And
honey.
That's a good name.
and
Tainted honey.
well, I guess colloquially known as horny honey, but some of the companies
Horny
include
honey.
MKS Enterprises LLC, Shop Axe with 2 A's, .com, 1AM USA Incorporated, DBA Pleasure Products, and then I really like this one. It's all one word: Thirsty Run LLC.
Wouldn't that? I guess are they selling it for? It must be expensive if they're buying a fairly expensive drug and crushing it up and putting little bits of that in there.
I know that Viagra is like generic now, and so you can get it a lot cheaper. But I don't know what the dosage is.
How cheap?
You'll have to consult with your.
What if you have Blue
health-
Cross Blue Shield?
You have to consult with your healthcare professional about that. I couldn't tell you.
Are you trying to buy over the
No,
counter?
I'm all man. I don't need anything like that.
Right.
But I just want to know if you had to get some, how do you get it? And
I'm going to tell you
how-
this right now. I just wrote horny honey into Google, and the very first listing that came up was Amazon.com,
Oh, well, hold on.
Walmart, eBay,
Okay.
Spencer's Gifts online.
Wait, they have them at Spencer's Gifts?
Ooh, they have an online store?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can go get that and a Stranger Things mug.
I was just buying a gross of fake dog shit. I
Yeah,
missed my chance.
I was gonna go down there and get a lava lamp.
I need another tie-dyed Megadeth shirt.
Yeah. So how let me ask you y'all this. When you take a Viagra,
Uh-huh.
does it make you come more, or does it just get you hard for a long time?
I think it just gets. My understanding is it just gets you hard.
But like, if you if the problem
Mhm.
but you're not gonna like hold out longer. If you come quick, you're still gonna come real quick.
I would
But you're
guess.
just like really hard.
So we need to confirm something really here. So your wife doesn't listen to this podcast, right, Mike?
She has no interest in anything that I do.
Yeah.
This podcast, much less anything
Okay.
else.
Okay. Go ahead with your question.
I haven't even seen her in a couple weeks, and we live in the same house. No, she does. She does listen to the podcast religiously. She lives on every word that I say because she knows. She knows.
Bouncing from one lie to the other. It's great.
No. But I just wonder. It's like I've just always wondered
So
that.
you think a product and this product might exist to increase the volume of ejaculate? Is that
Maybe.
what you think?
Yeah. I don't know. Get a gland. Yeah. If you got some, I don't know if it's glands, but your vas deferens or whatever,
Sure.
like, got them,
Mhm.
maybe just like
Right.
it speeds them up. Puts it into overdrive.
All right.
No,
So
it doesn't
maybe
do
less
that.
volume, but more pressure
Yes.
exerted on the ejaculate.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? There are certain industries that have learned all the tricks of the trade when it comes to that.
What?
There's probably a good way. That's probably something you could Google too. That's my guess.
Well, but my wife checks the computer. There's a bunch of locks on it, and there's certain things I'm not allowed to do. She's got a lock on it. I'm only allowed to look at educational YouTube.
This is quasi-educational. You're answering a question.
This is where you get all your news right here.
I'm asking questions, and also, what happens if you take too many?
I think like it would lower your blood pressure to the point where you'd like get dizzy standing up and stuff.
But it could also probably make your testicles explode from all the pressure.
That's what I'm wanting. That's what I want. I want them to blow up like balloons, and then pow, pop,
Yep.
and then the room is splattered.
That would also be a great catfish wish.
Yeah. It seems like an expensive, but I guess they figured out how to do it.
So our next story is a bonus story.
Bonus.
If you want to listen to this story, go to our Patreon and subscribe at least the $3 level. That's the Knights of Kevin level. And you'll have access to this and every other bonus story. So to give you a little taste of this story real quick, it's about
Just a taste.
haunted transportation, and there's a fire in it.
Those are literally my two favorite things.
Those are three things. Now we're going to move on to our arts and culture section. And I've got a story
cover
here
both.
from the Smithsonian Magazine.
That's both arts and culture, Kevin.
Yes.
Yes.
I think-
Smithsonian, that's where Fonzie's jacket is.
Also the setting of the hit TV show Bones.
I believe it was a little incident where everything came alive there. And it was up to Ben Stiller
Oh.
That's right.
to fix it.
I think it happened twice.
Oh.
Maybe even 3 times.
Might have been 3 times.
I know you might be right. I think you did happen 3 times.
I don't know. They might be just twice.
So in 2019, an artwork named Comedian debuted at a gallery in Miami Beach, and several versions of the artwork eventually sold for over $100,000 each. The artwork itself is just one banana attached to a wall by a strip of gray duct tape. Now, another artist is suing because in the year 2000, he registered his own artwork with the Copyright Office. The work was called Banana and Orange, and it features a banana and an orange, both duct taped to a green background, with the banana aligned in almost exactly the same way as the banana in Comedian. Comedian's creator argued that fruits and duct tape can't be copyrighted, but a judge refused to dismiss the case. Meanwhile, Banana and Orange's creator said he agreed that you cannot copyright the idea of taping a banana to a wall, but that a copy was made when the banana was taped to a wall in a nearly identical manner. The judge in the case wrote, quote, "The question of whether a banana taped to a wall can be art is more of a metaphysical question than a legal one. But the legal question before the court may be just as difficult. Did Banana and Orange's creator sufficiently allege that Comedian's banana infringes his banana?" Banana and Orange's creator is seeking damages over $390,000, the combined total that the 3 editions of Comedian sold for.
Wait, so can I go back? How
Yes.
much did the initial banana tape? Because I've seen this before.
Right. I think everybody's seen this.
Yeah. How much did it sell for?
Well, so there's one that's on display and not for sale, and that's what everybody's seen in Miami at a gallery in Miami Beach. But he's made 3 other versions, and those sold for probably around like the average would have been $130,000.
So the one that's on display, is it a fake banana or is it all withered and?
It's real, and I guess they retape it. They like replace the banana from time to time.
Is it one banana or 2 bananas?
Or 3 banana 4. 5 banana 6 banana 7 banana
7 banana.
or
I believe that's the. I believe you're referencing the Banana Splits show.
Banana.
I believe that's the theme song to the Banana Splits.
I don't know. No.
Interesting.
And then the artist's name was Fleagle, you're telling me.
No, I didn't write down the artist names because they weren't funny and so they weren't important.
What?
I know that he showed up to the gallery in a very small 1970s style police car. I think that's how he arrived. The gallery.
Maurizio Catalan created Comedian, but Joe Morford created Banana and Orange.
Man, I wonder how you get to the level that you can sell something like that.
You have to be in with people that will claim that it's art.
Yeah.
The right
there
people.
is something, I don't know what the word is. It's interesting to me, but there is something, it's so insane that there's something about the idea that a taped up banana can sell for $100,000. Like that in itself, like it has to have the price tag to it or the art doesn't really matter to me, you know?
Yeah.
But the price tag with the art, it makes it so insane that I'm like, that's kind of art in itself, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it has to be both.
I like the response when people see that stuff of, I could have done that. Like as though that's the test.
Yeah.
But you didn't, right? That's the thing. Like it's not art because no one else could do it. That's not the point, I don't think.
I have a piece that's up in the MoMA here in Austin, and it's 2 oranges, and but I set this on a stand. This is not taped anything.
Okay.
It's
really describe this to us. Yeah.
It's just 2 oranges, and they're sitting right next to each other. They're touching each other, and then I've got the banana, and it's kind of upside down, and I'm pointing it on the top.
God damn it!
And the banana drapes down over him.
Sure.
And it's called Fruit, Penis, and Balls. I'm taking quotes
again, both arts and culture.
How much did that sell for?
I mean, I'm listing at $50K right now because I'm an up and coming name in the art world. But
that's fair.
It's going to go to Christie's really soon, so we'll see.
Wow.
People can commission different versions, I'm sure.
Yeah. And by Christie's, I mean Christie's Creams. It's an ice cream parlor down the street.
So not Krispy Kreme.
No, Christie's Creams.
Oh, okay.
I find out somebody's done something very similar with nectarines and a plantain.
Yeah, I'll be furious. I'll be super. I'll throw a fit.
You'll get sued.
No.
I don't give a shit.
No. Well, I don't get what's wrong with this suit. Isn't the argument, like, couldn't you say, like, if you copied somebody's painting, right?
Yeah.
The first thing you would say is like, well, it's just, you can't copyright paint and canvas that paint goes on.
Like if
it's
I were
the
to
way
draw,
it's displayed.
If I were to paint a perfect Mona Lisa, but in this case, I added something to it. I add, like, George Washington behind him giving her the bunny ears and sticking his tongue out and going, "Ugh." No, it's Ray Stevens.
I would love that. Oh man,
Ray Stevens.
Do we put a call out to the good listeners of INS?
Yes.
Oh, that would be so great. Is he dressed up like Guitar Zan?
Yeah. A Guitar Zan. I just feel like you should be able to do that.
So this is going to be decided on super narrow grounds. Like I'm a copyright lawyer. Let's just put that out there. So in order for a work to be copyrighted, it has to be an original expression. And to be original, it has to have what's called a minimum level of originality, which is not a whole lot of originality. But it's hard to say, well, okay, what are elements here that aren't protected? That's a banana and duct tape. How many ways can you distinctly, in an original way, put duct tape a banana to a wall? Not that many. So I don't know. I mean, it's super narrow here.
I think this guy got ripped off. He deserves every penny he's got coming to him.
All right.
I guess. I don't
like people getting stuff. That's not too often. People have things stolen from them or copied or ripped off and repurposed by someone else
Well,
with bigger backers and bigger money. How much money did the original creator make?
It didn't say. I looked that up.
Yeah,
I couldn't find it.
Probably nothing.
I will tell you,
And then
only
some no talent hack
yeah,
copied his work just because he was in tight with the LA art scene.
yeah, with a bunch of douchebags.
Well, it might have been
Yeah.
Miami art scene.
You know, it reminds
Well.
me of the time that I wrote a screenplay about a bunch of buff boys who
Oh,
race
no.
cars and talk about family.
Mm-hmm. And one of them's a ghost.
One of them is a ghost. And now, guess who's making all the money? It's not me. And I was gonna sue them,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and I had the lawsuit all ready to go. And then they said they needed to see my script
Uh-huh.
and the timestamp on it, and I wrote it in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't protect that. It has to be in a tangible medium.
That's how they get you.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, are you ready to move on to get to know your podcast?
All right. This section is called Getting to Know Your Podcast. Sometimes on the International News Service, we talk about stuff that is, and we assume that you as an audience member know about it, but a lot of times it's not. We dig deep. We are vast oceans
Ooh.
of knowledge that
Yep.
sometimes people have not set sail upon that ocean. Sometimes people have merely stood at the beach. And I hope you remember to wear suntan once again. But we are I'm trying to find things that we've discussed that we talk about, and then I will explain them to you because they haven't gotten a lot of stuff. And this is a subject that we have discussed many, many times, comes up quite a bit. And I would like to tell the audience a little bit about Mr. Mickey Rooney.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Mickey Rooney, the originator
Mickey
of
Rooney.
60 Minutes.
Well, that remains to be seen. So Mickey Rooney was born in 1920. He started performing in films at the tender age of 6. And over the course of his life, he's in over 300 movies. 300. That's quite a lot. From 39 to 41, from 1939 to 41, he was the biggest star in the world. Wow. The world. Which is my Dana Carvey doing Mickey Rooney impression. And
Are you sure?
we're
Now
trying
I'm
to clear this
confused.
up, and I'm sure
Okay.
we will clear this up by the end. Who's Andy and who's Mickey? This is
Okay.
Mickey.
Positive.
Yes.
Okay.
So from 39 to 41, he was the biggest star. Like he had the biggest payday in Hollywood. Everyone knew who he was. He was just hit after hit after hit. He was like, I'm trying to think of another actor that's had like a 3-year streak of just like perfect bangers. And on top of that, he's making like 3 to 4 movies a year, and on top of other shit like that. So he's so huge. But then a couple years later, bang, WW2, we have to go to Europe. Little arrow goes from the States, animated arrow over to Europe. But Mickey goes over there. He gets himself a bronze star, but he's a troop entertainer. But he does a bunch of entertaining the troops in war zones, which sounds, I don't know. Who knows if they did it? Like in fighting areas. It's not like back at Fort Bragg or something like that. He's like,
so he's going to the front lines.
The front lines. He's in Berlin making funnies about old ugly ass Hitler.
Dateline Berlin. Hitler's on the move again.
Mickey Rooney pops the jab at the old leader of the Axis, and it's Mickey. Mickey Rooney's doing the thing with his fingers, and he's putting his legs up, and then he falls flat on his ass. So, but then he comes back. Here's the thing: he was getting really big, and one of the characters that he was getting, that kind of made him was this character named Andy Hardy.
Right.
And Andy Hardy was part of a family, and it was initially this initial movie was about a family, a very American family in a small town, and their trials and tribulations. And Oh, and Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was playing. It's tough. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Mickey Rooney is playing just this kind of young, horny, go-getting every all-American boy, you know? And I say horny, but like in a very clean, sanitized way. Very, he's a girl chaser, but he's very, you know, it's that real, like, can I give you my pen? And that kind of stuff. So, but his character just absolutely takes off. And so they do 16 movies based around Andy Hardy, because there was other like big actors that were in the initial series, but he just eclipsed them. Sort of like an Urkel situation. Remember how Family Matters started out as a, you know, kind of more working class, just kind of like a working class sitcom, you know, like it was because a lot of sitcoms people are pretty rich, and this was like, they're a little bit more working class. Dad's a cop, mom's a teacher, I think. And so then Urkel comes in, and then the next thing you know, there's fucking robots and time travel, and, you know, did I do that? Which I feel like Mickey Rooney could have nailed that. It's a shame we don't get to see them together. So 16, they did 16 Andy Hardy films. Like what other franchise has that many like feature-length movies? James Bond, I guess.
James Bond, yeah.
But there's different James Bonds. There's like 5 different James Bonds in that many.
Marvel.
Yeah.
The Emmanuel movies.
Those all did have the lovely Sylvia Crystal. No, only the first 3 did. Only the first 3 have Sylvia Crystal. There might be 16 Emmanuel movies, and they all follow a chronological plot that makes sense. And
I'm sure.
And honestly, Emmanuel movies are what inspired Fruit, Penis, and Balls.
A lot of payoffs in the later movies.
Yes. And just alone between the 10 years between 15 and 25, he made 43 movies, and it was the star of most of them. So, and back then, this is like the Hollywood system, right? You know, like you don't just go do movies and pick what you want to do. You get hired by the studio, and this was whichever one is
RKO.
No, it wasn't an RKO. It was MGM. And they're doing everything, and they're running it. They just tell you what you're going to be in, and you're in it. And he was like kind of like young Tom Hanks, I would say, in a way.
Okay.
That he was beloved by everybody. Like everybody kind of likes him, and he was literally kind of considered a symbol of American life, of a good old-fashioned American kid, apple pie. That's Mickey Rooney. But when he gets back from the war, he has trouble finding work because he's very short. He's like 5'2" or something like that.
Shorter than Tom Cruise, right?
He's shorter than Tom Cruise. So, but he nonetheless persevered and ends up getting more roles a couple years down the line, kind of forays his way into like old man stuff. And again, like never stops working and does good. And again, he is the face of America. Now, he also was married 8 times, eight marriages for Andy Rooney. And the girl crazy persona of the young kid was like that, but he was also fucking everything that could walk back then. He was, so his first marriage was to Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner, one of the most famous Hollywood starlets of all time. The woman that drove Frank Sinatra crazy when she broke up with him.
Right.
But, well, a couple months into their marriage, Ava came home and found him fucking another girl in their bedroom. And so she was really mad. So to get back at her, to get her back, to win her back, he feels like, I ruined this all. I did this. He goes and buys her the biggest diamond ring, and he gives it to her, and she takes him back. He says, well, this is the last time, baby. This will never happen again. I'm so sorry. He gives her this giant diamond ring. And then about 3 or 4 days later, he comes back and says, baby, I need that giant diamond ring because I have accrued some gambling debts and they are going to hurt me if I don't take it back. So he takes back the diamond ring that he gave to apologize for cheating on his new bride, who's also one of the prettiest ladies on the face of the planet.
Right.
And
did she stay with him?
Not for long. They got married pretty quick. And then the second marriage was to a woman, and I forget her name, but she ended up, they get divorced, obviously, because there's 8. This woman ends up becoming a backup singer for Elvis Presley and actually like writing some music that I think Elvis ends up using. But they're together, and it's a similar thing. She comes home, catches Mickey in bed with another woman. And particular, this woman was Elizabeth Taylor, because they were working together. They were working together on the set of National Velvet. But here's the thing. You think, well, stars, they get together, they work up, they're working close together. I can understand. The only catch in this is that at this time, Elizabeth Taylor was 14.
Yeah. What I thought.
Shit. Biggest star in the world.
So
this
Andy Rooney's
kind
a
of
creep.
He's a drinker. He's behind this thing. He's behind the All-American apple pie thing. He quickly, from a young age, becomes known as the biggest asshole in Hollywood. People refer to him now as the first Hollywood train wreck, and he's an asshole to everyone he talks to. There is no person that you can find that worked with Mickey Rooney in some capacity that that liked him or had a good time with him. But somehow he's able to just keep banging all these ladies. Like he gets with Marilyn Monroe. He gets with every starlet, Lana Turner. He gets with, and he's just rifling through them. And then at some point, one of his buddies, Milton Berle, famous for having a big penis, introduces him to, and I didn't know, they kind of make mention of this in the movie LA Confidential.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Mickey Rooney Jr., the original Mouseketeer, has just been reported dead at 77.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. It came across the wire about 30 minutes ago.
This is crazy. Wow.
This sounds made up.
This sounds made up. That's crazy.
Dateline, Austin Bastrop and Points North, 10:15 on 17. Mike, let them know what's just happened.
Yeah, apparently we're getting word that during the news report, the biography on Mickey Rooney, apparently his son, we haven't even got to him having kids yet. Apparently one of his sons has just been reported passed away. Back to you, Brian.
Mike, any news on whether it was the shock of finding out from you that his father had fucked Ava Gardner? Is there any...
I do not have...
any cause of death?
I do not have confirmation on that. I am not... this podcast is being pre-taped, so it's doubtful. That being said, we are recording this over the internet. So it is possible that he, unlike a lot of other people, are sneaking into our Zoom sessions and listening to us.
Right. And Mike, if I could ask one thing just to clear up with the listeners, I believe when the news broke, Kevin reported that it was Mickey Rooney Jr. and I think he misspoke. Can we confirm that's Andy Rooney Jr.?
It is Mickey Rooney Jr.
Anthony Rooney,
Mickey
second.
Rooney Jr., the original Mouseketeer and former bandmate of Willie Nelson.
Oh,
yes.
I bet. Does it confirm that the death was weed overdose related?
There's no cause of death
overdose
has been announced yet, but he was 77.
77 years young. That's the new 68.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
I read that in IFL Science.
Old Mickey, the adult Mickey Rooney, he is fucking his way through Hollywood. On top of that, he's got a horrible alcohol addiction. On top of that, he's got an even worse gambling addiction. He cannot keep money. At one time, he's the biggest star in the world. He comes back from World War II, and he's struggling to get work for quite some time. And he's getting work, but it's not paying like it. When he left, he was making $100,000 per picture in 1941 money. He gets back and he's only making $25,000 per picture. Oof. And on top of that, he's racking up divorces that ladies clearly have the goods on, getting good alimony payments. And he's just a degenerate gambler. And he really is degenerate gambler with the mob. Like he goes to Vegas, and there's this mob guy that ultimately he was friends with, that he would do the casino. That mob guy ultimately gets beheaded, and the head left on the bed of his casino hotel room. So on top of that, another way that Mickey likes to spend money is Milton Berle introduces him to a brothel. And I don't even know how they did this, but back then, apparently there was a very special Hollywood brothel where all the girls would individually, they base them on, you kind of look like Marilyn Monroe, you kind of look like Rita Hayworth, and then they would take them to plastic surgeons and do even more to get them to look just like that. So it was this weird, apparently it was this really high-end thing, and they were all like dead ringers and stuff. But Mickey's ultimately flat broke. He's got no money. Oh, I get to get to wife number 5. Wife number 5, they stick it out for a while. They're together like 2 or 3 years. And this time, because the rest of them are all under 2 years, and they might have been like 3 to 5. Of course, Mickey's fucking cheating on her. Mickey's fucking anything that walks. But turn to suit, she starts fucking around on him too. She starts fucking around with him with a actor named Milos. He's this handsome, much younger, tall, Latin kind of Greek-looking guy, and he falls madly in love with Mickey Rooney's wife at the time. He's really into her, but at some point, Mickey, who apparently must be like one of the most charming human beings on the face of the earth, that he can kind of get away with being the biggest asshole and still get work and just get all these women somehow. He charms her, talks to her, says, "Baby, I want to work it out. We got to work it out." Mm-hmm. And she says, "All right, that's fine." So then Mickey flies off to go do a movie somewhere. And at some point she tells Milos that there's never going to be that they're done. She's going to work it out. So Milos's response is to murder her and then himself in their bed with Mickey's gun.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. God. I'm wondering, is there any conspiracy theories about?
I don't know. Mickey was literally in Thailand shooting something. Mickey had clearly mob connections. The studio back in the day had a guy. There's this guy really famous. There's a movie called, what's that Coen Brothers movie? Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin plays this character, and he might have even been named Eddie Mannix in the movie.
Yeah.
But he was a real guy, and he was just a fixture, sort of like a Ray Donovan or whatever back then. And, Eddie Mannix apparently like grabbed Ava Gardner by the throat and told her to keep it big, mouthy trap shut, because she was telling people, Mickey's cheating on me. But so there was just a team of people that were kind of used to quiet down all of Mickey's outbursts and doings on and sexual. I'm just reading this. You know who found that? That was Betty Jane Race was pregnant with Mickey Jr. when she burst in the room to find Mickey having sex with 14-year-old Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's the, if you absorb something prenatally, I don't know.
I mean, that shock.
People say that you play music, to do a prenatal baby. Well, what if the music is Mickey Rooney?
The shock of seeing his father engaged in sexual assault of a child, even in utero.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but
it took a while.
Caused an aneurysm. Are we reporting its cause of death as aneurysm?
No.
Do you have that confirmed yet? Is that confirmed?
It was generational trauma.
Generational trauma. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of hate Mickey Rooney now. I'm going to be honest. It's bumming me out.
He's not a good guy.
He was apparently just the biggest asshole. Like, he was just such a dick. So he finally gets married. This is later, and I should have written down the year, but I don't have it. But he's married to a lady. He kind of one of those like Johnny Carson things. You finally settle down in your old age, like in his old age. So he marries a lady and he's with her. They're together 30 years until they get divorced in their 80s. Which always seems like whenever you hear, I mean, like, I don't know whether I should feel when you hear about a couple that gets divorced and they've been together over like 25, 30 years. I'm always like, it's always like a weird, like, it's sad, but also like, well, that must be also a really good thing too, right? Or not? I guess every situation's different, but it's it's usually like year 2 or year 3. Year 7's a good divorce year, I would say.
Right.
Or there's like some event you can tie it to, like, you know, the kids just graduated high school, or, you know.
Yeah.
But Mickey eventually passed away. He passed away in 2014.
Are you leaving out his Emmy-winning performance in the 80s as Joe?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he starts making a comeback. He has a big comeback as Bill.
I'm sorry.
He's playing a mentally handicapped guy. But people say that I read an article that said his mentally handicapped character is up there with Sean Penn as I Am Sam and Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump.
That's my memory of seeing those movies.
You know, towards the end of his life, he never stopped working. And towards the end of his life, he was just like doing one-man shows in the South that he would just get up and talk shit about stars that he was with growing up.
Yeah.
He was connected to Judy Garland, but he claims they never had anything together, that they were like brother and sister.
Closer than brother and sister. It was like they shared time in a womb, but more than that.
He says often. But according to Judy Garland, he did, you know, fuck her for a while. You know, he fucked everything. I mean, I'm sure there's a million different pressures and traumas that you would have being a child star in that era, but it certainly didn't help that she was madly in love with Mickey Rooney and he's fucking every other starlet, and I think reminding her that she's putting on weight for stuff, you know.
I don't think we've never praised Mickey Rooney, have we? Have we ever?
No, we've mostly made fun of Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, the Breakfast at Tiffany's thing. We don't.
Yeah.
Well,
love him for
that was he said, and according to this, so later on, he does. Some of his notable later things were he did. He was in It's the Mad World.
Great movie, yeah.
Bill
Jonathan Winters.
He was in a movie called Breakfast at Tiffany's. A fondly remembered movie, except for his part where he plays the world's most racist caricature of an Asian person.
It is uncomfortable to watch.
I guess he's supposed to be Japanese.
I think so. Yeah.
In the movie, he wore makeup with buck teeth and taped his eyes and delivered his lines in an exaggerated accent.
It would be hard to do something more
offensive
than like if you said, like, I want to demonstrate to an entire group of people that I hold them in disdain and I hate them all. This is what you would do. Like, this level of, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something to the effect of, I'm sorry I did it. I'm mad at them for writing that part that way. He fully puts the blame on the writers.
But you know what? That's all you need to know. That's his entire life was that. And it worked for him almost his entire life.
Yeah.
And I guess still worked for him because he probably said that before he was his turn in the Bill movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
But, you know, that being said, like, everybody, like Laurence Olivier back at the time, who's, you know, obviously very, very well regarded as an actor, said that Mickey Rooney was the best actor working. And people across the board praised his acting ability. Like, everybody, every time I would find all these awful things that were said about him, that he was the biggest asshole, but they would all end the statement with, he's such a jerk, but goddamn, was he a good actor? He was such a good actor.
What was he good in?
You know, I just watched the other day, I watched a noir called Hurricane or Avalanche. It's a film noir that had an unreasonable happy ending because I'm sure they were playing off his his likableness, but he plays a character that is just this little guy he's very girl crazy, and he kind of ends up falling into a scheme where he steals some money and just things go from bad to worse, kind of one of those stories. And I gotta say, this was before I did this, but he's fucking great in it. He has a real, a lot of people and actors back then have this very stiff thing where they kind of walk up, they walk up, hit their mark, and do their thing. But he kind of has a thing that felt like you could see him being a human being now, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's weird, too, because he's not attractive that he got all those women. Even he was, like, open about, like, he's like, I'm a goblin. He referred to himself as a little troll goblin, and other people, too, where it's like, we cannot understand how, there's not a starlet that he did not bed. He just went through all of them, but somehow, when you got it.
He was in Boys Town, right? With Spencer Tracy.
Boys Town was a thing that took him from being like the teen heartthrob that all the girls loved to that's what made him an actor that kind of broke him open to everybody.
Great.
Did he also play teens well into his 20s and maybe even early 30s?
He went
he had one of those faces, right? Yeah,
exactly. He was able to go well into it, and then, but for whatever reason, when he got back from the war, he just couldn't do it. He couldn't pull it off anymore. And I don't know if that's because also like America's more cynical after that. That's kind of when film noir starts, because
it would be hard to see him as convincing as a soldier. Right. Or like war movies were pretty popular back then. And a lot of, I'm trying to think of it seems like everybody got, like Gary Cooper's tall, right? And was he a post-war guy or a pre-war guy?
Gary Cooper I think he might have fought in the war. Super duper, Gary Cooper?
Super duper, that's right.
Super duper. He said, every place I've gone, you were so funny. Asians and Chinese come up to me and say, Mickey, you were out of this world. Then he said, I wouldn't have done it. Those that didn't like it, I forgive them. God bless America. God bless the universe. God bless Japanese, Chinese, Indians, all of them, and let them have peace.
Way to forgive them, Mickey.
Yeah, there was another quote where he just very firmly puts it on the right.
Very alpha brain mindset.
Honestly,
I forgive you by being offended by my objectively offensive representations of you.
And I will say, though, that Eddie Mannix and whoever the studio was involved in keeping that stuff quiet clearly did a really good job. Like there's stuff that you can find, but not that much. And there's so much smoke around this that there has to be just like an insane amount of fire for that many people to just kind of casually toss off that he was an asshole and that he did this and that. Like I bet we do not know the tip of the iceberg of shit that guy did when he was running around Hollywood with the big head for a while. Right. I bet it was pretty insane. They have,
and maybe I'm sorry, I was just going to say that it might be more widely known than this, but it was kept so under wraps that I had no idea that he and Elizabeth Taylor, when she was 14, like that is shocking to me.
Yeah. And
it either came out somehow so quietly that it wasn't, or just so late in the game that it was too late to even be news almost, right? How does he keep getting work after that? That's
right.
Well, I think it came out, Elizabeth Taylor probably wrote it in a biography when she was, 65 or something like that. I don't think it was really, it wasn't the press news. And, the Eddie Mannix and all the studio people would have squashed that real quick. Right. And there were people on the payroll that were just dealing with Andy because at his height of his powers.
Mickey.
Louis B. Mayer said that Boys Town's, he was the owner of MGM, the main studio guy, and he said that Boys Town's the best movie he ever did, and Mickey's the best thing that was in Boys Town.
Oh wow!
And I guess at one point, Mayer he went to Mickey Rooney and said, he went to him like, "Listen, I don't care what you do in private, just don't do it in public. In public, behave. Your fans expect it. You're Andy Hardy. You're the United States. You're the Stars and Stripes. Behave yourself. You're a symbol. And Mickey said, I'll be good, Mr. Mayor. I promise you that. Oh, the specific quote about Judy Garland was,
Judy and I were so close we could have come from the same womb. We weren't like brothers and sisters, but there was no love affair there. There was more than a love affair. It's very difficult to explain the depths of our love to each other. It was so special. It was a forever love. Judy, as we speak, has not died. She was always with me in every heartbeat of my body.
So that wraps up another week of the International News Service. Find us across social media.
So much about Mickey Rooney.
Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. There's one thing that the FDA guarantees that will help people last longer and feel better with their partners, and that's a healthy dose of INS. Check out the INS merch store at Redbubble and our Patreon. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.